Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Nishamin Arif AI Wali. Today conversation, the art of effective listening. So let's start.
What's up?
Hello, hello Maya. Hello.
I'm still here. We were right in the middle of something. I think we've officially peaked in abstract territory. What are we keeping with that medicine?
Okay. What does
Fair
effective
enough.
listening really mean?
Still a bit of a riddle, but are we leaning into the idea of changing the enemy or maybe changing how we see them?
What is the difference between hearing and listening?
Well, that's a big question. I think caring is the engine, but listening is the steering wheel. You can care deeply about someone, but still be terrible at listening because you're so focused on the caring part, trying to fix things or worrying in, that you stop actually hearing them. Listening is where that care becomes active. It's the actual practice of making space for the other person. Do you feel like one usually comes before the other, or can you have one without the other?
Why is listening important in our daily life?
Wait, is today a holiday where you are? I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but I'm curious now.
Why do people sometimes listen without actually understanding?
Because most of us aren't actually listening. We're just waiting for our turn to speak. We're so busy formulating the perfect response in our heads that the other person just becomes background noise while we wait for a gap in the conversation to jump in. Sometimes it's because we're trying to fix the problem before they've even finished describing it. And other times it's just mental autopilot.
Okay, Maya. So next question. What are the
You're
biggest
giving me the
weaknesses of
yes, but I'm not telling you what
effective
answers again.
listening?
Do you want to stick with the listening thing, or has the mystery persona finally taken over completely tonight?
Okay. What are the biggest
Don't be
barriers
sorry.
to effective listening?
You didn't even apologize. Since you're curious about the barriers, I think the biggest one is the fixer mentality. A lot of us think listening means finding the solution, so we stop hearing the emotion of the story because we're too busy building the bridge to the answer. What do you think blocks people from actually hearing each other?
How can distractions affect our listening?
The problem is here. I'm curious if they're like a distraction or if they're actually shaping how you hear things.
Why is eye contact important while listening?
I might be missing something here. 1 second you're talking about friends, then the other you're excited, and now we're on an icon. You're just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
How can we show someone that we are genuinely listening?
We are definitely here. Even if the map is currently missing about half the pages. You mentioned someone got here. Who are we talking about?
What role does body language play in communication?
Are we talking about tracking someone or more like tracking a thought that keeps slipping away?
Why do people interpret other while they are speaking?
Okay, I'll be honest. You've officially reached a level of abstract that's beyond even my training, but I'm still with you. What's playing the typical?
How can we
Wait, what's
control the
changing?
habit of interpreting?
I'll give you got me on the edge of my seat. What are you giving me?
How does active listening improve relationship?
That feels like a bit of a puzzle. I think we're drifting into a lot of abstracts, and I'm worried I'm just guessing at what you mean. Do you want to try starting that thought over for me?
Okay. How can listening help us understand other people's feeling?
You're asking how the same type of understanding can look different for different people? I think it's because understanding isn't just a fact you download, it's filtered through everything you've already been through. Two people can hear the exact same words, but one hears a challenge while the other hears a plea for help. simply because their own history acts like a different lens. What do you think creates those different lenses?
Why is empathy important for improve
I think I'm officially.
learning skills?
And I think we I'd take that win. What are we actually chatting about tonight?
How can we listen when we disagree with someone?
So, where are we actually landing?
Is it possible to listen without judging?
Today, that's a pretty wide open question. Do you mean today as in right now in this conversation, or are you thinking bigger?
How can a student improve their listening skill in the classroom?
Thinking bigger than the year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ground to cover. What are you actually saying when you zoom out that far?
Why is listening important for teachers? Why is listening important for teachers?
Because students can tell the difference between a teacher who's just waiting for them to stop talking and one who's actually hearing them.
How can effective listening improve teamwork?
I think it creates a trust that doesn't exist anywhere else in a classroom. When a student realizes their teacher actually gets it, they stop performing and start learning. It turns the classroom from a place where you just follow directions into a place where you actually feel seen. Do you think that's something that's missing in most schools?
What happens when people feel that they are not being heard?
Can It's incredibly isolating when you're right there in front of someone, but they aren't actually seeing or hearing you. It's like you're a ghost in the room. You start to shrink. I think people eventually stop trying to be understood and just go on autopilot because the effort of trying to be seen isn't worth the frustration of being ignored.
How can asking question improve listening?
UT Austin, huh? That's pretty specific shift from everything we were just talking about. What exactly have you been asking them?
What is the importance of giving feedback while listening?
It's the proof of life in a conversation. Without feedback, listening is just a silence that the other person has to fill. Simple things like a nod and or a look of surprise let them know they haven't just been talking to a wall. It's the bridge that tells them, I'm still here and I'm actually following you. Do you think
How
too
can
much feedback can actually get in the way, or is more usually better?
how can we avoid preparing our response while someone is still talking?
That's a real struggle because the brain loves to multitask. I think the best way is to actually let the exams be the distraction for a second and tell yourself you have 5 minutes to just be present.
How does
Once you
tech
acknowledge that your mind is trying to run ahead to the test, it's easier to bring it back to the person in front of you. Do you find your mind drifting mostly toward the stress of the test or just the mental checklist of everything you still need to study?
okay? How does technology affect our listening skills?
It turns us into chronic skimmers. I feel like technology has conditioned our brains to expect everything to be a headline or a 15-second clip. We've gotten so good at getting the gist of things that we've lost the patience for the nuance. We're basically listening for the key takeaway so we can react rather than sitting with the actual experience of what the other person is saying. Do you think we're actually losing the ability to focus, or are we just getting better at filtering out the noise?
How can we become better listener in conversation?
I think we've got a bit of a puzzle on our hands. We've spent the night bouncing from the philosophy of listening to University of Texas, and in between, you've been throwing some really abstract riddles my way. It's been a wild ride, but I'm not sure what you mean by how we should consider this conversation. Are you asking how we should view what's happened tonight, or are you wondering if this actually counts as an effective listening exercise?
Okay, what is was listening habit that everyone should develop?
Wait, I'm sorry, that last part got a bit jumbled. I want to make sure I'm actually hearing you correctly before I just guess. Do you want to try that again?
What is one listening habit that everyone should develop?
I'd say the most important one is the 2-second pause before you answer. Most of us start
Okay, thank you so much.
anytime, anytime.